Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name's Ash, and today I'm going to be reviewing the QUByte Classics, the Immortal. Now, this is basically a re-release of the game The Immortal. That was originally released around the 1990 sort of era, and I believe it was out on sort of Nintendo and Mega Drive consoles, as well as sort of classic PCs. So this was developed by Piko Interactive, and it's published by QUByte Interactive, and I was lucky enough to be provided a code for this review, so thank you to them for that. Now, I was expecting big things from this because Piko Interactive make awesome re-releases and sort of they do wonders with like classic games when they re-release them, and they make them work on sort of modern machines, and they even sort of fix sort of classic games or even port classic games and stuff like that as well. So I had high hopes for this game, and honestly, I hate to say it, I was massively disappointed, and I'll get into that in a minute. So the description of this game basically is: the labyrinth holds mysteries unfit for mortal eyes, mysteries of eternal life, of sudden death, of sorcery, and betrayal. So the game is an isometric action-adventure game with combat scenes and multiple choices when it comes to story. And basically it's sort of like an old school isometric dungeon explorer. You go from room to room, fighting enemies, exploring, looking for items, dodging traps, etc. Now, the game consists of the player controlling an unnamed sorcerer's apprentice of Mordamir. So the sorcerer faces various deadly creatures and traps in the dungeon, where at each stage he discovers more details about the story of his journey and finding new allies, items, and dangers. So it says the player must solve puzzles, avoid death traps, use magic spells in the form of books and scrolls, and acquire various items in order to survive the labyrinth. So this game is out on Xbox. It is priced at £6.69 in the UK store, on Xbox One, and obviously playable on Xbox Series X and S via backwards compatibility. And it's also out on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. Now, I never played the original one of these. I believe it was out on it was like an Apple IIGS, and then I think it came to sort of Atari as well as obviously sort of the NES, then the Mega Drive. Now, I'll start with the good stuff. This version of the game, the re-release, includes both 8-bit and 16-bit versions of the game. So you're basically getting two games for the price of one here. So you can experience obviously the original sort of 8-bit version, and then sort of the better quality 16-bit version. Now, it runs really well. Like I say, it looks really good. They haven't stretched any of the dimensions, so it's got a nice border, but it's got nice sort of artwork around it and everything. Looks very of the time, but just sort of cleaner and easier to view. So, in all those senses of the world, it works really, really well. Now, let's jump to the bad side of things. This is one of those games that, like back in the day, would have come with a big fat sort of tome of a instruction manual telling you everything to do, like give you clues to the story, etc, etc. Whereas with this re-release, there's nothing. Obviously, because it's digital on Xbox, you don't get anything. There's no instructions. You go to sort of menu for like controls, and it gives you 3 buttons, and it just sort of says these mean 3 different actions. Doesn't tell you what they are or anything like that. You're just thrown into the game with no sense of what you've got to do, where you've got to go. I mean, for fans of the original, you'll probably love it, and you'll probably remember like what you used to do, so it'll be a win-win for you. But for those people who've never played this game, you'll just die constantly, frustratingly, without any reason or rhyme, because you have no idea what the controls are, and there doesn't seem to be anywhere to find that. Now, like, how does the combat work? I haven't a clue. I still don't understand how the combat works in the game. I've sort of figured bits out, but I seem to be just pressing buttons most of the time, trying to figure out what does what, why does this ability do this here but not there, etc, etc. And it really is a negative impact on the game. So I couldn't recommend this until they change this now. Either they update it with a sort of, even just a control scheme sort of plain text picture that just says this is what everything does, even if it's just a sort of like a flip book sort of quick. You know, when you can go on, it's like manual and it's like just pages, just quickly explaining how to play the game and what everything does and sort of what the point of the game is. That was all this would take. It wouldn't take a lot of work. It wouldn't take a lot of effort. I just feel like because this is a digital release, it suffers. Now, if there's physical versions of this game and it's comes with a manual, there'd be no issue at all. But right now, it's pretty much like mind-numbingly horrendous to play when you haven't got a clue. Like I say, I started in the first room, I instantly died pretty much, fell down a hole or something like that straight away. I went outside, got into a fight, didn't know what I was doing, died straight away. Now I managed to progress a bit further forward, but I wasn't able to get that far into the game. Now I know it's supposed to be hard. It's an 8-bit, 16-bit sort of dungeon game. I expect it to be hard. I understand that, but back in the day, you would sit, you would read through the manual, you would sort of learn how to play, and you would go back into it, whereas you don't get that with this game, and unfortunately, it suffers because of it. So if QUByte or Piko are listening, please just give it a quick update with some bloody manuals or instructions, and then I will happily re-review the game once it's got that. But right now, I just couldn't recommend it. And I'm not the only person that said this. I've seen this online. A lot of people have said if you haven't played the originals and you haven't got a clue what any of the buttons are, etc., you'd be lost, and it's not enjoyable. It's not enjoyable enough to just wander aimlessly around, dying over and over again for no reason. And that's the problem this game faces, unfortunately. But like I say, if you've played this in the past, I highly recommend checking it out. It's a really good re-release in the sense of the quality of it. It's just lacking in that sense that this is a digital game on Xbox and there's no physical manual, so it's very limited in teaching you. Well, it doesn't even teach you anything. You just start the game and you're just there. So yeah, it throws you into the deep end, but fastens 2 giant weights around your ankles to stop you swimming, basically. But that's that for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hate being negative on games, but it's something so simple that could be fixed. So I just want to get it out there. Hopefully they patch this in the future. And we'll see you soon for more videos anyway, guys. Bye for now.